Thank you for joining us. We begin tonight in Sokoto State, where at least 10 worshippers were kidnapped as gunmen suspected to be bandits attacked a mosque in Bushe community, Sabombrini local government area of the state. Eyewitnesses said the gunmen invaded the mosque on Thursday while worshippers were performing their early morning prayers. Residents said the gunmen had been molesting people of the community for some time now, even with the presence of security agents. The Sokoto State Police Command has confirmed the attack, just as the command spokesman, Ahmed Rufai, said the police authorities were working with other security agencies to rescue abducted victims. In a related development, suspected pirates also hijacked a passenger boat carrying 20 travelers along the Bonny-Okrika waterways in Rivers State. Bonny Local Government Council, however, said 9 passengers have been rescued, while frantic search is on to rescue others. The Bonny LG chairman, Nengi Cloud Wilcox, said the rescue was in collaboration with security agencies. A statement by his media aide, Boma Waribo, on Friday said the driver of the passenger boat went contrary to the rules to pass through Kilometer 10, which is a prohibited channel for commercial boat drivers. Meanwhile, the Maritime Union Workers of Nigeria Rivers State chapter has expressed worry over the continued pirate attacks in the state. Let's get some perspective. We're joined now by security expert and executive director at the Rule of Law and Accountability Center, Okechukwu Nwanguma. He joins me to speak on the persistent insecurity across the country. Thank you for giving us your time. What would you describe as the factors contributing to the persistence of insecurity in Nigeria, and how do they intersect?
Well, thank you for the opportunity. Incidentally, you talked about Warri, you talked about Sokoto, but I know that before these ones, there was also the incident in Ebonyi State, where herdsmen, are suspected herdsmen were alleged to have massacred, over 16 people in a worship center. And you note that the incident in Sokoto also involved people in a mosque. And this is in spite of all the, promises that this government has made about their commitment to fighting insecurity and securing the life and, safety of Nigerians. The increasing incidence of banditry, herdsmen attacks on worship places, piracy, and kidnapping in Nigeria, despite large security budgets, and then federal government assurances. All these highlight what I would see as systemic issues within the security framework. And I think that to address this will require address rising insecurity in Nigeria, rising violence in Nigeria, requires a multifaceted approach that will combine both immediate security interventions, and these interventions seem not to be working. But
okay, beyond the promises.
In addition to that, I think there is, need to address socio-economic, strategies, because, the thing is that government does not seem to be, exploring community engagement, enhancing law enforcement capabilities, and addressing the root causes of these things. And I think Nigeria needs to, address all these, combine both
you
law
talked
enforcement
about
and
the root
intervention.
causes. Sorry if I'm coming. You talked about some of the root causes. I mean, people would say beyond the economic challenges, what other unemployment, what other challenges could be pushing this insecurity in the country? Add to that, you said the government has made promises and they've tried, but what can you just take a look at the responses that they have given and how, if any, impact it is having on the situation in the last 1 year or so?
I think that the challenge is that government, there seems to be a narrative that government is pursuing that is, affecting the effectiveness. There are historical grievances. For example, if you go to a place like Ebonyi State, there are issues around boundary issues, land disputes, herdsmen and farmers, disputes. Government needs to address some of these root causes rather than, I think that the sole focus on security interventions doesn't seem to address these challenges, because it seems that in different places there are different causative factors that government is not factoring into their interventions. So reliance on military and kinetic approach does not address the problem, and that is why they remain persistent. So government needs to understand in each location what are the root causes, what are the historical factors that are leading to these things, and I think that it's important for government to address all these things beyond law enforcement. But there's also issue of corruption in terms of security funding, and I think that there's a lot of factors that government needs to address, that needs to, respond to these issues that are recurring. For them to be recurring, it means that something is missing.
So I get from you that no one solution fits all the unique challenges we get from the different parts of the country. But beyond fighting insecurity, we know that innocent Nigerians bear the brunt mostly of some of these interventions by the military. How can they balance the need to secure the nation and protecting human lives?
So the point is that government needs to, be thorough in assessing, the situations in different regions of the country. In different regions, there are different. There is, contextual issues that need to be understood, and in many cases, for example, today I was watching a video about the new outfit that was set up by the Anambra State government, which in my view is a good initiative, because the truth is that the federal security agencies cannot address the issues. There's need for localized interventions, but in dealing with these things, government also need to be sure that the local outfits are not going outside. For example, I see them arresting people, and there are outcry about innocent people being. If you see the video of people who are being tortured, I think that it is important for various state governments not only to intervene by creating state-controlled security outfits to complement.
Okay, at the heart of your submission, at the heart of your submission tonight is the need to use different strategy and study the situation appropriately. Thank you very much for speaking with us.
Absolutely. Yeah.
There seems to be no end in sight to the crisis affecting the New Nigeria People's Party, as two factions in the party are claiming control of its leadership. The faction loyal to the former governor of Kano State, Rabi Wakwenso, says that the recent national convention of the party held in Lagos remains null and void, insisting that the convention lacks legitimacy. News Centre's Sagir Ibrahim brings us more details.
In remarks, the chairman of the Kwankwaso-led NNPP faction disowned the party's national convention and inauguration of a new leadership, saying that the National Working Committee of the party was not aware of the convention.
It is clearly against the law and against common decency for any group under the guise of any identity different from what I have enumerated above to refer itself as NNPP. For this reason, therefore, the NNPP did not have any national convention in recent times and so we did not inaugurate any new national working committee.
He further alleged that the expelled members behind the Lagos Convention are being sponsored by external forces who are intent on destabilizing the party ahead of the 2027 general election.
It must be the same obvious forces that seek to bring chaos and disorder in all other opposition political parties in our democracy. For those same forces, the best case scenario in the lead up to 2027 is the absence of all opposition, knowing full well that 2027 would practically be unsurmountable for them, given the rampant weaponization of hunger and desperation across the land.
Meanwhile, the Agbo-Major-led faction of the party maintains that no court order has barred its members from parading themselves as NNPP officials. Speaking in a telephone interview with News Central, Agbo-Major says that there has been no formal communication from any competent court in the country restricting their activities. Major further accused the Kwankwaso-led faction of misrepresenting the facts before the public and failing to provide substantial evidence to support their claims. In Abuja, Sagir Ibrahim for News Central.
When we return, News Central's correspondent Ibrahim Sagir and the factional national secretary of the New Nigeria People's Party, Sunday Ogini, will be joining me to unpack the ongoing development in the party. Thank you for staying with us. You're watching Tonight on News Central. A reminder of our top stories. Gunmen invade Sokoto Mosque, kidnapping 10 worshippers, just as suspected pirates hijacked 13 travelers at sea in Rivers State. Ownership crisis lingers in New Nigeria People's Party as Kwankwaso faction rejects Lagos Convention. Swedish government contemplates tighter gun laws following school mass shooting in which 11 persons were killed. To further discuss the ownership tussle at the New Nigeria People's Party, as earlier reported, we're joined now by my colleague Ibrahim Sagir, who has been tracking the development for News Central. Also joining in is the factional national secretary of the party, Sunday Ogini. Gentlemen, thank you for giving us your time. Sagir, can you shed more light on the controversy within the NNPC?
Good evening, Felicity. Thanks for having me on tonight. So a brief background. It's been, of course, a leadership tussle. It's been a tussle of who gains control over the leadership of the NNPP. So currently there's two factions, one led by the former governor of Kano State, Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, and another led by the founder and, of course, chairman of the board of trustees of the NNPP, another faction, this time led by Dr. Boniface Anyebuna. So this time, the dynamics is quite dicey, bearing in mind that the Kwankwaso-led faction seems to have, quite a number of its members owning key or clinging on to key government positions. For example, the presence of the likes of Senator Rufai Hanga, who is currently a senator of the National Assembly, having various members of the National Assembly, particularly in the House of Representatives, coming from Kano State, not forgetting the fact that it also has a sitting governor, talking about, the Kano State governor. Now, on the other hand, the Dr. Boniface Anyebuna faction is claiming we founded the party, this party belongs to us, and as such, we should, deliberate or have some sort of control over what happens in the party. Now, key thing to note, both factions seem to be working with a court order. The Kwankwaso-led faction is working with an Abuja High Court injunction, which it claims has barred the Dr. Boniface Anyebuna faction since as early as April 2024 from parading itself as members of the NNPP. Meanwhile, the Dr. Boniface Anyebuna faction is also working with a court judgment that it had gotten from the Abia State High Court, as a matter of fact, which claims the court gave it the go-ahead to reconstitute, its leadership from the World Congress up until the National Convention, which we saw happen on the 5th of February in Apapa, Lagos. And now, on the other hand, the NNPP, led by the Kwankwaso side, is saying that it is in fact not responsible and it has no knowledge of that convention. And it stated clearly that its NWC was actually founded in 2022 under the supervision of INEC. are some of the dynamics, that played out up until this point.
I guess a lot more is expected in the coming days, but what is your assessment of the current state of affairs?
Thank you very much for that question, Felicity. Like I said, it's a game of court judgment and counter-court judgment. But as it seems, one faction seems to be the one housing the founding members, of the party. The other faction seems to be the faction that has members who are holding key government positions. This is now where the clash seems to be. And in other words, just to give a rundown, the Kwankwaso-led NNPP faction has distanced itself from the convention that held 2 days ago on the 5th of February. It's saying it remains the legitimate faction because it is recognized by INEC, and as such, it has its own new emblem, the red, white, and red, with a book and also a graduation hat, adorned on the emblem on the website of the NNPP, meaning that it is, in fact, the legitimate NNPP as it is. Now, the Dr. Boniface Anibunam faction on the side is claiming that this is not the case, but unfortunately, because this faction led by the Kwankwaso, led by Rabi Musa Kwankwaso as it is registered and is identified on the INEC website, it may seem at this point that it is, in fact, the party that seems to have the upper hand. And hence, on the other hand, the Dr. Boniface and Ibunam faction is saying it will continue to work with the court judgment until it gets one that makes its own faction recognized by the INEC.
Sage, thank you very much for the update. We expect more in the coming days, and of course, you'll be our go-to person. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, unfortunately, we couldn't get Sunday Ogini at this point. We'll try and get him in before we finish tonight. In the meantime, let's tell you that Nigeria's Minister of Education, Tunji Alausa, has dismissed claims that the federal government has scrapped the 6334 education system, merging junior and senior secondary school classes and replacing them with a 12-year basic education system. The minister, while refuting the claim during a press conference in the nation's capital, Abuja, says that the proposal is being considered and has been presented to the Extraordinary National Council on Education for deliberation and expected consensus by all stakeholders. He says that the initiative aims to improve the standard of education in the country and improve students' access to education, making it free and compulsory.
And I want to clearly clear the sensationalization that has gone out since yesterday, that the Federal Ministry of Education, the federal government, has scrapped GSS and SS, primary school GSS and SS education. We have not. That still stays. What we're saying is that we need to move from what we have now as 9 years compulsory education to 12 years of compulsory education as it's obtained in other parts of the world. If you look back into the history of Nigeria, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, people that that went through the primary education then and got up to standard 6, if you compare the level of education, the level of instruction, even as standard 3 then, it's much better.
National Counter-Terrorism Center in Nigeria says that the nation recorded a 16.3% drop in abduction rates in 2024 compared to 2023. National coordinator of the center made this known to newsmen in Abuja, saying that this was made possible by the multi-agency anti-kidnap fusion cell set up by the center. Our correspondent Joshua Imarayi reports.
Kidnapping for ransom in Nigeria has become a multi-billion-dollar industry. With cases recorded across several states in the country, the need for government to put in measures to curb the menace had become apt. The Office of the National Security Advisor thus set up the multi-agency anti-kidnap fusion cell placed under the supervision of the National Counter-Terrorism Center to effectively bring an end to the rampant cases of kidnapping being recorded.
As a result of efforts by the current administration under the leadership of the National Security Advisor, Malam Nuhu Ribadu, MNI, Nigeria recorded 16.3% decrease in incidents in 2024 compared to 2023. However, the number of victims slightly increased by 0.2%.
The center says that more focus was placed on the 3 states with the highest recorded cases of kidnapping in the country.
Kaduna, Katsina, and Zamfara states in the northwest accounted for the highest prevalence with 13.8% of total incidents and 61% victims of the total recorded cases in 2024.
The national coordinator of the center urged Nigerians to partner with government and use the National Emergency Response Number 112 to report cases related to kidnapping and suspicious activities burdening crime. In Abuja for News Central, I am Joshua Imarayi.
Many thanks, Joshua. Wife of the Niger State Governor, Fatima Bago, has called for urgent and practical action to combat sexual violence, stressing the need to protect the rights and dignity of vulnerable groups, particularly women and children. She made the appeal at the 3rd International Conference on Rape and Child Sexual Abuse. News Central's Bettina Uweli reports.
Violence remains a grim reality in Niger State. Despite growing advocacy and awareness, cases of rape and child sexual abuse continue to rise. According to conference convener Chenemi Bamai, the event seeks to develop long-term solutions to these persistent crimes.
As we address this year's theme, encroachment, we reflect on how societal and individual distortions deviate from God's order. Rape and sexual abuse are symptoms of humanity's fallen nature. It's an age-long problem that requires both spiritual and practical solutions.
It is at that time that it becomes critical in all cultures to start educating the child about the do's and don'ts. No, you don't dress this way. You cover yourself in this way. These parts of your body you do not let others touch. Only your parents, only your siblings can give you a bath and touch this part of your body.
The wife of the Niger State Governor, Fatima Bago, highlighted the ongoing struggle against gender-based violence. She criticized the gap between discussions at conferences and actual implementation of solutions. Speaking on the theme of the conference, the Niger State First Lady stressed that encroachment goes beyond physical violations, encompassing any act that invades another person's physical, emotional, or psychological space without consent.
The message, as always, is that we need to be very vigilant. We need to really watch out for each other. And then we need to know the particular places to go and report some of these cases so that maybe if the perpetrators see that the law is really taking its full force in tackling the issue, maybe, just maybe, they will desist from such acts.
This platform aims to raise awareness, educate young people on self-protection, and deter sexual violence. The role of parents and teachers in preventing abuse cannot be overemphasized, as their influence is vital in equipping the next generation with the values, awareness, and resilience to combat this societal ill. In Lagos, for News Central, I am Bettina Unwili.
The news returns after this break. Stay with us. Glad you're still here. Let's go back to our earlier conversation on the controversy submerging the new Nigeria People's Party as to who is the rightful a leader. We're joined now by Sunday, the factional national secretary, Sunday Ogini. Sunday, thank you for giving us your time. Could you talk to us about some of the specific grievances your faction has against Kwankwaso's leadership and how these issues have impacted the party?
First of all, let me correct him. There's only one new Nigerian People's Party, NNPP. Anything that can be referred to about State Honorable Musa Kwankwaso is about his Kwankwasia group, not New Nigerian People's Party. This New Nigerian People's Party is a party that has been founded by Dr. Boniface Okechukwu Aneboda for the past 23 years. And Kwankwaso came to beg for this platform lesser than 2 years ago. So how come will he now say that he wants to submerge and even want to overtake and even overrun the party? It is highly impossible. So there's only one NNPP funded by Dr. Boniface Okechukwu Aneboda. So there's no any faction here.
To say that will say, Sunday, with all due respect, to say that will seem to negate all the concerns that has been plaguing your party. There are issues that your party is contending with. To turn a blind eye and say there are no factions means that all is good, all is in huru with your party. Is that the case?
No. The point is this. All is good because there's only one new Nigerian People's Party. What is not good there is for a single man that through his own act of greediness want to hijack what does not belong to him. For a person that want to be president of Federal Republic of Nigeria, to be running etasketa, to steal the intellectual property of another man, somebody who benevolently help you when you are being beaten by political reign. This is Kwankwaso that all Nigeria knows that they have been running etasketa from PDP to APC to different political parties because he now came to us in NNPP. And Dr. Boniface Okechukwu Aneboda is benevolence, accepted him and gave him the ticket to run for 2023 presidential race. And after that, this one, because of his greediness and self-centeredness, want to annex the party to become a group of concasia, and he also went ahead to go and change the logo of the party to this red cap of peace cultists.
So you're focusing, I'm trying to move the conversation to the well-being of your party. Perhaps I should rephrase my question and ask you that analysts are saying this crisis will most likely impact your party's showing in future elections. How worried are you that this crisis will be resolved in time?
Because Kwankwaso are not worried, because Kwankwaso has been expelled from this party. So, that he cannot steal another person's intellectual property. Because of that, we know that the exit of Kwankwaso is going to be a blessing to our party rather than a curse. If you see what is happening in Kano today, how many House of Representative members are now with Kwankwaso? They are with the original NNPP, which Dr. Boniface Aneboda, who is the founder, is leading. I want to tell you this. Kwankwaso himself knows that the game is over for him in New Nigerian People's Party. So as far as we are concerned, we are on the right path of party recovery and bringing every Nigeria back. NNPP is not a court. And for anybody that wants to run a political party like a courtist is unacceptable to us.
Right.
Changing the logo to his secondary school logo. We have a party that was given to us by God, to our founder by God, that this is New Nigeria, with basket of fruit of prosperity in the map of our Nigeria.
Sunday, I'm afraid that's the most time will permit us
to become the logo of the party. It's unacceptable.
That's all we can take of this conversation. Thank you for giving us your time. Sweden's government has announced plans to tighten gun laws in the wake of the worst mass shooting in the country's history. According to the police, 7 women and 4 men between 28 and 68 died in the attack, including the gunman who killed himself. Named widely in Swedish media as 35-year-old Richard Anderson, the suspect had 4 legally owned rifles, 3 of which were found at the school. Sweden's center-right coalition, which relies on the support of the far-right Sweden Democrats Party, said on Friday it would seek to increase vetting around gun purchases and ban certain types of weapons.
The World Bank has urged the federal government of Nigeria to tackle key barriers limiting private sector growth, stating that strategic reforms could unlock billions in investment and create thousands of jobs. Speaking at the country private sector diagnostic and stakeholder engagement in Abuja, Dr. Ndiame Diop, World Bank Country Director for Nigeria, emphasized that despite being Africa's largest economy, Nigeria attracts less foreign direct investment than its potential, lagging behind Indonesia and South Africa. He added that with ongoing economic reforms, this is the perfect time to eliminate obstacles and accelerate sustainable growth in the country. The U.S. labor market continues to show resilience, reducing the likelihood of an imminent interest rate cut by the Federal Reserve. The January jobs report released on Friday revealed an unexpected drop in the unemployment rate to 4%, the lowest in 8 months. Wage growth also exceeded expectations, rising 0.5% month over month compared to 0.3% in December. Additionally, payroll revisions showed the U.S. economy added 100,000 more jobs than previously estimated in November and December, reinforcing the labor market's strength heading into 2025. To stock markets now. Positive sentiment prevailed in the domestic stock markets this week, with all 5 trading sessions closing in the green as investors reacted positively to a fresh batch of corporate earnings reports. This drove the year-to-date return to 2.92%. And notably, the market gains were driven by Cadbury, Eterna, and May & Baker. Meanwhile, Zenith Bank emerged as the top traded in terms of volume with 108.78 million units and in terms of value with 4.99 billion naira. Now let's take a look at the snapshot. Looking at the snapshot, we can see the percentage change. It is 0.48%, and this is 65.59 trillion naira. This is 105,933.03. It's just about 67 points shy of 106,000, and we are hoping that it will cross that mark by next week. It's very possible, right? Okay, now let's go to sectoral performance. Sectoral performance was largely positive, with all 5 tracked sectors closing in the green. The financial services sector led the gains as banking topped the chart with 172 basis points. This is it right here. And insurance, of course, with 164 basis points, which you can also call 1.64%. Now, these are the financial services, banking and insurance. Outside the financial services sector, industrial goods sector comes in next with 77 basis points. That's industrial over there. And then after industrial, we also have the consumer goods with 11 basis points. And finally, the oil and gas with 11 basis points. And finally, let's tell you that Naira closed at 1,501 Naira 61 kobo against the dollar at the official markets today. And that's a wrap on business news tonight. I am Perpetua Fasemi Peter. Tonight continues.
Hello and welcome to sports. All is set for the annual biggest sporting event in the USA as the Kansas City Chiefs will battle the Philadelphia Eagles in Super Bowl 59 at midnight on Sunday Nigerian time. The championship game will take place at the 83,000 capacity Caesars Superdome. This marks the 11th time the New Orleans has hosted the event, and it is the second time in 3 years that the Chiefs will face the Eagles in the final game of the NFL season. The Chiefs are chasing an unprecedented 3rd consecutive Super Bowl, while the Eagles are eyeing a 2nd NFL title overall. The halftime show, a 12 to 15-minute musical extravaganza and one of the most coveted slots on the U.S. music calendar, will feature Grammy-winning hip-hop artist Kendrick Lamar. We also heard that U.S. President Donald Trump will also be the first sitting U.S. president in attendance. And last year at the 58th edition, Nigeria lost an icon and a top bank executive, Herbert Wigwe, who died in a helicopter crash on the 9th of February 2024 in the United States on his way to attend the Super Bowl championships in Las Vegas. To some more sports news now. Nigeria's Kada Queens secured bronze medal at the 26th Africa Cup for Club Hockey Championships in Ismailia, Egypt, after defeating Kenya's Mombasa City 1-0 in a tightly contested match. The team finished 2nd in Group B, winning 3 of 4 games to reach the knockout stage. Meanwhile, Delta Queens and Plateau Queens, Nigeria's other representatives in the women's category, placed 3rd and 4th in Groups B and A respectively. The Super Eagles of Nigeria will travel directly to Kigali, Rwanda for their crucial 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifier against the Amavubi on Friday, the 21st of March at the 45,000 capacity Amahoro Stadium. The team will camp in Kigali on Sunday, March 16, as they seek their first win in the qualifiers. 4 days later, after facing Rwanda, they will host Zimbabwe at the Godswill Akpabio International Stadium in Uyo. Nigeria has struggled in the qualifiers, recording 3 draws and 1 defeat, and a win in Kigali is crucial for their World Cup hopes. Reports say that the Nigeria Football Federation will release the list of players for the 2 matches early next month. With just months to go before the FIFA Club World Cup in the United States, the tournament's new trophy arrived in Africa as part of the build-up. The expanded competition will feature 32 teams, including African representatives Al Ahly, Esperance of Tunis, Mamelodi Sundowns, and Wydad of Casablanca from the 14th of June to the 13th of July. Mamelodi Sundowns hosted the trophy's first African stop on the 8th of January, with club chairman Patrice Motsepe and the squad welcoming it. Sundowns, making their second Club World Cup appearance, face Borussia Dortmund, Fluminense, and Ulsan HD of South Korea in Group F. The trophy tour continues in Cairo to be received by Al Ahly before heading to Tunisia and Morocco, where it will be received by Esperance and Wydad respectively.
Time for some entertainment update. I have my colleague with me in the studio at Dewa with all the latest gist. I hear February 14 is starting early.
Yes, it is, because African Giant has surprised the Nigerians once again. Yes, I'm talking about Burna Boy, by the way. Some gist about Rumours and falling in love, but I'll bring you all the details shortly.
Entertainment news in association with Glow Unlimited.
All right, now, African giant Burna Boy and American actress and singer Chloe Bailey have sparked excitement amongst fans after seen sharing a public display of affection during a dinner date. Yes, the pair were first rumored to be dating in late 2024 after being spotted together in Nigeria. Now, today, a viral video of them enjoying dinner together went online and caused a whole lot of conversation, where the couple wore matching outfits and were doing things that couples do. You know what I'm saying? So this fueled speculations about the relationship, but none of them have come out publicly to confirm. But the PDA field outing has left fans eagerly waiting for that public announcement. So some believe that this had started a long time ago, maybe in 2024, earlier 2024, citing a video of when Chloe Bailey attended a Burna Boy concert in St. Lucia. So you see where it's coming from. It's not just now, it started long ago.
Curious about their love life. Who you love. Yeah, it shouldn't be our business, really.
Well, the reason why people are talking about it, because it was supposed to be, the speculation was, oh, she's a singer, he's a singer. Maybe they were together to do music, but maybe they're making a different kind of
music.
Right?
I got you.
Now, speaking about one of the controversial individuals, Kanye West recently called out President Donald Trump to help secure the release of rapper Sean Diddy Combs. Now, Combs was arrested in September on serious charges, including racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, and kidnapping. Now, Kanye West posted a plea on social media asking Trump to free my brother Puff, and criticized Hollywood elites for not supporting Diddy amid his legal troubles. Now, he also shared a FaceTime video he did with Diddy's son Christian and voiced frustration over celebrities being passive and addictive to complaining and not doing anything. Now, despite the lack of clear reasons for his advocacy, Ye's social media activity shows that Diddy is his only person who he follows on Instagram, aside his wife, that's Bianca Censori. Now, the two rappers have a long history together in doing music and business. So maybe that's why he's come out to speak for his friend. Well, that's all I wanted to say. Yeah.
Is a weird, lovable human being. Crazy in his ways, but I mean, it's a case before the court, so there is very little one can actually say without going foul.
Well, let's hope maybe Donald Trump will respond, because he's used to responding.
We shall see about that.
All right, that's all on entertainment tonight.
And that's the news tonight. But before we go, here's a reminder of our top stories. Gunmen invade Sokoto Mosque, kidnapping 10 worshippers, just as suspected pirates hijacked 13 travelers at sea in Rivers State. Ownership crisis lingers in New Nigeria People's Party as Kwankwaso faction rejects Lagos Convention. We also told you that the Swedish government is contemplating tighter gun laws following school mass shooting in which 11 persons were killed. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, but also on Abo TV and YouTube. Many thanks for your kind company. Have a good night.